InsideThunder.com. Powered by Wheeler Whitlock Insurance.
I was really, really proud of the way our guys hung in there. We had a lot of turnovers in the first half. I think we had 11. I thought at times when we really moved the basketball, we got, I thought, really, really good looks, but I didn't think we did it enough in the first half. I think coming out in the second half, I thought we had much, much better ball movement. I thought we got higher percentage shots. And then I thought in the second half we defended much better than we did in the first half. And I think we talked about it before the game. They certainly ran some things that we had not seen before, and we probably ran some things they had not seen before. So I was really, really just very pleased with the way our guys just kind of kept their composure. They kept battling, they kept fighting, and I think everybody knew it was going to be a game that was going to kind of come down that way. And then I thought Dion, gave us a huge lift. He knocked down a couple really, really key shots, and then, Kevin making some free throws late, obviously, to seal it. So I think, it's the first game. There's a lot of things we can build on and get better at. I think I said before, it's going to be a work in progress. It's going to take time. But I think hopefully these guys can learn some things from, this game tonight and then move on to the next one.
Coach, Kevin was struggling with his shooting early on. What did you see differently from him, especially late in the fourth?
Well, I mean, one is I think you got to give Kawhi Leonard credit. He's a very good defender. He's long and rangy. But, Kevin, I thought, had some shots that he normally made. He made a big three from the top, which was huge. He made some free throws. But the thing I was most pleased about with Kevin is, a lot of emotion for him, coming back off the injury and the fact that he really kept his composure all the way through. He really was contained. I thought he was focused. And he just handled and just kept playing, and he kept playing. And, he made some plays late that helped. But, clearly with the way he shoots the basketball, I know, he's accustomed to seeing those shots go in. But they didn't. And he kept playing, which was a big positive, I thought.
Coach, Jeremy Griffin, InsideThunder.com. You talked about the players hoping that they learned something from tonight's game. And this may be a question for tomorrow, but what have you learned even just in this short time? Anything you take away from this game?
Well, we played against a veteran basketball team that's really, really good at their system and, very, very good on both ends of the floor. Again, I think there's a lot of things that we can improve on. One is the turnovers. We can do a better job there. I think, two, when we really move the basketball and make that extra pass and we get from side to side, good things happen for our team offensively. And the biggest thing I think we improved on today, which I thought was critical in the game, is we didn't send them to the free throw line too much. And we had done that in some preseason games, so that was encouraging to see them not maybe take a whole bunch of free throws. Because I think you add turnovers on top of free throws, it becomes very difficult.
Dean Blevins, Newsnight Sports. Billy, can you talk a little more about Dion, because it looked like he played himself out of the rotation there for a few minutes, and then it's almost like you guys, there's a reason you wanted to extend his contract. He's got some upside, doesn't he?
Dion's a really good player. I think the one thing that's hard for any player is, you're sitting on the bench, you come in and out. I thought he gave us some good minutes in the first half. The thing I was most pleased about with him is he kept, his focus. He had a couple turnovers there, I think, in the third. But I think Dion's one of those guys that has a lot of confidence and belief in himself. And when he, is on the court, he spaces it, and he can really put on the floor and get in the lane and make things happen. And he's a really good passer. And sometimes I think, maybe when he's out there with the second unit, there's at times I think maybe he feels he's got to do maybe more than he needs to, because I think he's trying to add some life into the group, which is fine because I want him to be aggressive. But I give him a lot of credit that he kept his focus coming out and then going back in the last 5 minutes. And he played, I thought, very, very well down the stretch on both ends, both offensively and defensively.
Myron Patton, Fox 25. Couple things. Russell was kind of your constant tonight as far as just playing well throughout. And also, I remember you mentioned in preseason you didn't get to see Kanter and Adams play together because of different ailments at different times. You got to see that tonight. and Kanter's stat line was pretty impressive.
It really was, but I thought in the first half one of the big differences in the game is I thought San Antonio's physicality up front, caused some problems. I think they had 30 points in the paint in the first half. I didn't think we were physical enough up front. I thought in the second half, Nick Collison, because it really wasn't going great, and then Nick came in, and I thought physically he changed the game a little bit, and then when we subbed back in Steven and Enes, those guys presented some size and some length down inside, and I thought we made it a little bit more difficult in the fourth quarter, for LaMarcus to catch the ball, and some of the other guys that were trying to post up, Diao and West. I thought in the first half they were catching it too easy. They were just throwing it to those guys and spacing the floor, and then you start doubling, you start giving up threes. But those guys did a really good job, I thought, in the fourth quarter defensively, and towards the middle of the third to the start of the fourth, they did a really good job.
Anthony Slater with Oklahoma. That going back to Dion, that step back jumper that he does, that analytics tell you he shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Westbrook and Durant on the court. How do you have that balance with him of when to take it, when it's okay to take it, and when not to?
Well, it's interesting because I agree with the analytics, because I really think when you attack the paint, you take advantage of the three-point line, you get to the free throw line, that's the most efficient way to score. And Dion, I think, is learning the balance between that. But I would say this, one of the things that happens with Dion is Dion's a good late clock player, and I know that he picked up an offensive foul there, maybe close at the first quarter or wherever it was. Sometimes you need guys late clock that can make those kind of shots, because you're hung up and it's 5 seconds and the clock's going down, and sometimes you need somebody just to manufacture a shot anywhere on the floor, and it's a good shot, and sometimes he can get those shots off and he can make them at a pretty good rate. He shot 50% in the preseason. He shot 42 from three. He's done a pretty good job. He's one of those guys to me that is definitely that balance. I don't want to take away his aggressiveness from him. I want him to attack. I want him to be aggressive. But I also think he understands, too, that, early in the clock, taking that step back, that's probably not the percentage shot we're looking for early in the clock. But late in the clock, when he does get it in those situations, he's good at making it.
Nick Gallo, OKCThunder.com. Just what stood out to you about those last 2 minutes defensively, the way that you guys kind of dug in there, possession after possession?
Well, I think I talked to the players, I think mentioned this before the game, was just the discipline. We got back cut a few times, but I thought our guys' discipline was really, really good coming down the stretch. We didn't jump. We had an opportunity to foul some jump shooters with ball fakes. We stayed down. We didn't really get back cut too much. And I thought we really defended well, and were able to get some stops and push it in transition. So I think the discipline the last few minutes I thought was a positive, because, as I said before the game, they can spread you out, move you around, and before you know it, you're out of position. You're jumping through the air. The ball gets ahead of your defense. You're trying to play catch up, and inevitably they're scoring, or you're fouling them.
Coach Tim Farley, Eye on Oklahoma. You talked about the players. Can you comment a little bit about your first NBA win?
Well, I said this, the very first time I set up here. I just want to try to help and try to bring value. These guys are a great group of guys. I really mean that. One is I appreciate them giving me the opportunity to let me coach them. They're coachable guys. They want to be coached. I think they want to be pushed. I appreciate that about them. Hopefully in some small way, I was able to help out in some way. But I think, again, Kevin's out there, Russell's out there, Dion Waiters is making shots. Those guys out there played, and they're the ones that really got it done. I was just happy to be a part of it and enjoyed, what a great, it's my first, obviously, true home game, outside the preseason games, but what an electric environment and a special place to be a part of tonight. It was great.
Coach, Kawhi Leonard, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sure you expected him to have a nice battle with Kevin on that end of the floor, but offensively, were you kind of surprised by the output he had?
Well, you know what? I think to Anthony's comment, and I think he makes a good point, we didn't give him threes. Sometimes a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", it's the same thing with Kevin. They start jab stepping and putting the ball on the floor, and they start taking these long 2-point jump shots. You're going to have to live with something. I think that Kevin did a really good job defensively contesting the shots that we wanted him to take. He got a couple fouls going to the rim, but we didn't give him a lot of threes. So he made a lot of mid-range jump shots, and sometimes guys can have nights like that. I think the hard thing with the Spurs when you're playing against them is when three things come into factor. One, they start making threes with Patty Mills and Danny Green, coupled with the fact that Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge and West are great 2-point players, and they make a lot of shots twos, and then you start fouling them. So if you can kind of eliminate the fouling, you can kind of eliminate the threes some, you're going to have to live with those twos. And I give Kawhi Leonard a lot of credit. There was a couple shots he made I thought were really, really difficult and hard shots. And he's a guy that's probably, for the length of his career, continues to grow and get better. But he deserves a lot of credit on the shots he made.
You've talked a little bit about your first experience, obviously, as a head coach, going up against Popovich. Was that a special moment? And I saw you guys kind of embraced after the game. What did he tell you?
Well, I said this because I think it was last year's training camp. I called and reached out and wanted to go in there and spend some time with him and talk about some different things, even away from their system. And, I mean, he didn't really know me. Maybe he knew me from afar. He was unbelievably gracious. They had me come in. I spent 3 days there with him. He took me to dinner. We spent time. At the head coaches meeting in Chicago, he picks up the phone and called me a couple days before and says, "Hey, listen, you want to grab dinner with me?" And that's what I said when someone said, what comes across in Greg Popovich, I just say his humility, and just his grace, and he's just a down-to-earth, really, really good guy. And they've got a very, very good team. And it was one game. But I really appreciate, going back to last September, just how open he was with me and how sharing he was from a coaching perspective. I thought that really meant a lot to me because I didn't have a prior relationship with him. But I think from that point, we've developed a pretty good relationship, and I really respect him and admire him as a person. I think the basketball part speaks for itself.
Coach, you get a deep breath, and then now the NBA is sending you to Central Florida, to Orlando, for your first road game. What kind of reception do you expect there, and just what do you expect in Orlando?
Well, I mean, I hope it's a good one. I don't know. People there have been great. Obviously, Orlando, Jacksonville, there's a huge contingency of Gator people that live in those cities. But, obviously people will come from Gainesville, people that I've worked with and people I've been close to. So, that's great. But again, the ball's going to get thrown up, and it's going to be about both those two teams. It just so happens the second game's on the road. It's our first road game in Florida, of all places. So, but we'll have to get prepared tomorrow to play them.
We talked about a little bit this morning, just the environment you're going to be playing in, just with this title contending team. Now, how was it tonight in front of that crowd in that type of game?
It was amazing. There was it was our first hard game. And it was one of the craziest fans in NBA, and we're just pumped us. They really pumped us up, and we just went out there and just play our basketball.
Coming off the bench, you would seem to have an advantage against some of the backup bigs in this league, especially on the boards. I mean, are you kind of viewing your new role as that kind of come in and exploit the backup bigs?
Yeah, the last year I started, this year I'm coming from the bench, but I think the most important thing just stay focused and just locked in. Whatever just coach told me to do, just do it. It doesn't matter if I play 48 minutes or 1 minute. Just whenever I'm out there, I'm just try to do my best and just help my teammates.
And how were you able to be in the right position to take advantage of those missed shots and be such a key in the third quarter going forward?
Just fight for it. Every time they try to take a shot, me, not just me, Steven, Serge, and Nick, we just went out there for a rebound and just try to give confidence to our whoever taking the shot.
You all to have that ability to be able to come in and be able to dominate on the boards. How do you think that's just going to help the team throughout the year?
Definitely. I mean, I think the most important thing, just those trash plays. Just those trash games. Whenever just somebody taking a shot, just try to hit first and just go and get the rebound. And that way, just like player whoever they're taking a shot, just gain a lot of confidence.
Enes, what was it like to be out there with the full arsenal of this team with Kevin healthy out there as well tonight?
It was amazing. Last year we didn't have that chance, but this year, we just went out there today and everybody was healthy. Thanks God. Kevin and everybody, Russell and Serge and everybody was out there. I think it was like I never had experience before, something like that. The crowd was going crazy. And I never played a team like this before and just trying to play for the title. So it was a really good experience for first game. I hope we're just gonna build up like this and just keep going like that.
Considering last season, this summer, some of the maybe criticism defensively, how did this feel good? What you did tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been working on the defensive whole summer, and I think even for the training camp, all like the 85%, 90% was talking were just, it was defense. So I'm just like really try to like, lock in on defense and just try to do my best.